Audio John Madden sitting on the seawall in Veracruz, Mexico, in the marina section, R. Flores Magón Colonia, just south of the Hotel Mar Y Tierra, which has been a base of operations for me January, February, and now about 18 days. She could be a base of operations for me. And this morning about 8 o'clock, I was sitting on the seawall right down there. I know the time because I shot a video and it's got a timestamp on it. I was shooting a video about the fact that I have about 17 days left in Veracruz, and how am I going to avoid having it just be one day the same as the next, because I spent so much time doing exactly this, sitting on this seawall, going to the OXXO, shooting videos of the OXXO. I haven't always gotten shots of this little doggy here riding in a pouch. Oh, I hope you can see that little doggy riding in a pouch. Yeah, so this day has been a lot different than other days. They do tend to go that way whether I want them to or not. They tend to all be different. There's so much glare here I can't tell if I'm actually still shooting a video, but yeah, it looks like it's running. So I ended up spending a couple hours at Harita de Oro coffee shop, which is like straight through that block on that street over there, which has got an indigenous name I can't pronounce. But I've been going there every day, and it's got strong Wi-Fi, and I was uploading videos like a monster in there. It does tend to get a little busy, and today it wasn't too bad when I got in there, but it got really crazy. 2 huge rooms, cavernous, so much noise, and I was working so hard on those videos it all got quite intense, so that when I left there and came down that street where you see the yellow and blue, there's a side street there, boy, it all got super quiet, and I hung out one spot, had a cigarette, came down over here. One of those porches right over there is just the right height for me to sit on, maybe by the electrical meters there, I bet there. And I have done that many times. I took to calling it the lookout point because it's a half a block down from the OXXO, and there was a nice breeze and I was in the shade. I'm not in the shade here, but I came over to get this angle for telling the story. So I hung out there and it got so quiet, and then all kinds of stuff happened over there. I got videos. Well, my favorite bird around here is I call them ring-necked doves. You'll see them on lots of other videos. They're very sweet little doves, and they're very tame. They hang out near me. It seems like they like me. But I had never seen their aerial assault skills, and I twice saw a ring-necked dove kick the shit, almost, out of big grackles. They can outfly them, and they drive them away. And I was throwing bread and stuff out on the sidewalk, and the ring-necked doves would get it all, and that was super exciting. And then people would come along, oblivious to the birds I was feeding, and drive those ring-necked doves away. And one of my favorite lines, I love Mexicans, I say this in so many videos, but it was an awful lot of fun to say, I'll take a ring-necked dove over 10 Mexicans any day of the week. I do love birds. I do love birds. So then the other thing that happened was, as I was getting ready to leave there, a kid came by wearing a Marcos jersey. Might be a soccer player, hero of his, or it could be his name from a soccer team. But I, for some reason, associated to an album that I was big into in the United States, Imelda Marcos, not Latina, but Filipina. Here Lies Love, David Byrne and some hip-hop guy, David Byrne, and I can't think of the name of it. But I was all about that album a couple of years ago, and I was a T-Mobile customer back then with my cell phone, and the T-Mobile agents were all in the Philippines, And they were so sweet, and they were very much like Mexicans in terms of engaging and sweet. And I was always flirting with those girls and always would tell them about how Imelda Marcos, who had been so dumped on by the U.S. press when her dictator husband was thrown out, because she had a lot of shoes, you know. The American media loved to destroy a woman over some crazy thing like that, like she had too many shoes. And that show, which ran on Broadway and has been recently revived, tells the story of her rags to riches and how she got in over her heels, over her head, because there was fame and wealth, and she didn't know what was going on. She did her best. But I always would say to these T-Mobile girls, check that album out. And they always were into pop music and American rock music, and they'd always be really happy to get that link to affirm their culture. So that was amazing. I remembered that just because, and I made myself a tick to do for that, so I'll go back and listen to that music again. I couldn't from there because I'm not on a Wi-Fi. And then as I was walking down the Oxo, a lady who's been a fixture of mine in this neighborhood because she walks her furry little white dog off leash, and I love people who walk dogs off leash. And she kind of micromanages him. She's saying, okay, over here, over here, over here. And I asked her one day a couple weeks ago, is he viejo? Is it an old dog? And she said, no, joven. She's just training him to walk with her, and it's so precious. So I saw them, went into the Oxo, made some notes about all that, ran over here in the heat, about to pass out from sunstroke. And all this before breakfast because I don't have any money today. And I've been trying to reach my buddy Lee to get him to send me money. My friend Margaret is willing to bankroll me a little bit, but Lee may be busy today. So I haven't, and all I had was about 100 pesos at Jarrita de Oro, and I used it for 2 cups of coffee. That was my breakfast so far. And I think I kept 15 pesos out so I could get a Coke here. It's not enough to get a bowl of Habanas or anything like that. So I think a nice Coke en Cristal in the big glass bottle sounds pretty great to me. I think that's exactly what I had here this morning. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all for now. So that answered my question of, can this day possibly be different than all these other days? How do I make it kind of ring that bell? Did you hear that? Unbelievable. They've got a bell on their phone. I liked it on their bike. I like to say that every bike should have a bell like that, because otherwise they startle you when they come up from behind you. Okay, here we are in Mexico. Still going, what? Where the fuck am I? Mexico, it's a dream. It's definitely a dream. Every day I wake up going, look real careful to see if you can figure out if this is a dream, because I think it's got to be a dream. All right.